Hi, clarinets. This is a tutorial for the solo called Melody by Albert Beale. And I am going to be working through this solo for you measure by measure, going over each note in the song. But before I begin the tutorial, you need to understand that even though I'll be going through it measure by measure, you need to practice it a little bit differently. So once you learn the measure 5, you need to then learn measure 6. And when you have two measures, then you need to put those two measures together. Then you can go on to the next two measures and put those two measures together and then play all four of those measures. And so you'll work this way throughout the entire piece until you're able to play all of the solo. So I am not going to stop though and go back and practice two measure segments. I'm only going to be discussing one measure at a time with you. So let's begin at the beginning. You have 4 beats in a measure, and you have no flats and no sharps in the key signature. Now that is important because you have a couple of B's in this song. Here's the first one in measure 6. These are going to be B naturals, middle finger B's instead of B flats. So if you're not very familiar with B natural yet or regular B, that will happen a couple of times in this song. So right off the bat here, you have a 4-measure extended rest. This happens a couple of times in the song where we have more than one measure of rest. For my classes, we are not going to be performing with an accompaniment. We're going to just read the solo straight through without anybody playing with you. Some schools or some soloists, when they perform, they will have a piano accompaniment that plays in this section right here, these first 4 measures, or perhaps a recording that they are playing along with. So if you are playing with a recording or an accompanist, then you will want to rest these 4 beats. If you are not, like my classes are not, then we are going to just begin the solo right here at measure 5. So let's begin. So in measure 5, you have E, thumb 1. You have 2 of those, and then you're going to do thumb 1, 2, D, and then back to thumb 1, E. So this is a middle finger push-up that we are doing in this measure, E, E, D, E. So I'll play that measure for you so you can hear it. Measure 6. You ended measure 5 on thumb 1 E, and measure 6 is going to begin on a C. So C is thumb 1, 2, 3. So we're going to be going from thumb 1 to thumb 1, 2, 3 right here. So be aware that you're going to lay down 2 fingers here. So I'm beginning with C, then lifting. So I have thumb 1, 2 for the D. And then now here comes that B. So to get from D to B, I've got to add my 3rd finger and my middle finger on my right hand, which is going to be the 5th finger. And so I'm leaving this one right here blank. So this might be the first time that you have played this particular note. So C, thumb 1, 2, 3, D, and then 2 fingers down to get to the B. So you will probably have to practice that measure several times before you get this little jump here from D to B cleanly. Once you can do this, then go back and play measure 5 and 6 together. After you do that, then we'll continue with measure number 7. Feel free to stop the video anytime that you need to go back and work on something. So measure 7, we're going to go back to the thumb 1, 2, 3, C. We have 2 of those, and then that B middle again, and then right back to C. So C, C, middle B, and back to C. Measure number 8. I have D, thumb 1, 2, E, thumb 1, actually I have 2 E's, and then right back to D. So thumb 1, 2, thumb 1, thumb 1, thumb 1, 2. Sounds like this. Now, after you you can play all four of those notes in measure 8, we need to talk about this little thing right here. Kind of looks like a smiley face, doesn't it? This is called a slur. And a slur happens when we have different notes that are connected with this curvy line. And what it tells us to do is to tongue the first note, which would be the E in this case, and then anything that comes later after that's underneath that slur, the curvy line, you're just going to move your fingers, but you're not going to tongue the note again. So if I am tonguing, I would say T, 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 and then not use the tongue on this note here at all. So when I play this measure with the slur, it's going to sound like this. So once you get the notes down in measure 8, start adding in that slur. Measure 9, I have thumb F, 2 of those, and then I'm going to go back to E, thumb 1, and then right back to thumb F. So here's measure 9. And if you're not familiar with this little marking right here, this is a breath mark. This is kind of a weird place to take a breath in this particular song, but the editor wants you to take the breath here so that you have enough air to get all the way to this breath mark right here. So when I perform this for you at the end of this tutorial, I will observe this breath mark so you can hear what that's going to sound like. Measure number 10, we ended on thumb F here, and then I need to go to thumb 1 to D to start measure 10. Then I'm going to lift to thumb 1 E, and then I'm going to go down to C, which means thumb 1, 2, 3. I'm going to have to add 2 fingers right here to make that happen. So I'll do that again in slow motion. D, E, 2 fingers down for C. And notice that everything that we played up to this point has been a quarter note, but this C is a half note. So I will give this one 2 beats instead of 1. So here is measure 10. Measure 11, I'm going to remove my third finger. So I'm playing D, thumb 1, 2. I have 3 of those, D, 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 and then I'm going to put that third finger back down for the C. So here's measure 11. Measure 12, I'm still on C, half note this time, 2 beats, and then I'm going to go down to that B middle. So I have thumb 1, 2, 3, C, and then I'm going to add the 5th finger or middle for the B. Here is measure 12. Measure 13, I'm going back up to the C. Let me roll this up just a little bit. So I have thumb 1, 2, 3, C, middle B, C, B, and then I need a D, which is thumb 1, 2. So if I'm on middle B, I'm going to lift this finger here and this one at the same time. So I'm at thumb 1, 2, D. And then I'll end that measure by putting the third finger down for the C. So I'm going to do that slowly, starting here. C, B, middle, D, thumb 1, 2, third finger down for the C. Sounds like this. So I've entered measure 13 with a C, thumb 1, 2, 3. And I need to begin measure 14 with a thumb 1 E. So I'm lifting 2 fingers. And then I have E, thumb 1, 2, D, thumb F, and then thumb 1 E. Notice this oddly placed breath mark here again. So let me do that again. E, D, thumb F, and then thumb 1 for the E. So I've ended measure 14 with thumb 1 E. And now measure 15. This is your A. You may not have played this note yet. So this key, let me get this close so you can see it. This key right here is your A key. And we do not play this key with our finger pad like I'm playing it, like I'm pushing it right now. So I don't use this part of my finger. Instead, I'm going to play it with the side of my finger, right near where the knuckle is here. And we rock up to this, kind of like it's a tipping motion. So kind of like when you have a glass of water and you're going to tip it, kind of the same thing happens. That first finger pushes towards you on the side of the finger. So I have A, rock up to A, and then I'm going to go G, 4, 5, 6. Then I have thumb F, and then this note is an F sharp. We can see the sharp right there. It looks like a hashtag in front of the F, and that means that we need just this key right here only. No thumb. No thumb dolling is the name of the game. So I'm going to do this measure really super slow. So I have A, rock up to the A key, G, 4, 5, 6, thumb F, and then first finger only for the F sharp. And so it will sound like this. You're going to need to practice this measure a lot because it's probably the more technically challenging place in the song. Measure 16, you have 2 Gs. We'll play both of these 4, 5, 6. They're half notes. And in measure 17 to 20, that's what that little dash right there means, 17 through 20, you have an extended measure rest. So 4 measures of rest. If you are playing with the accompaniment or the recording, then you are just going to put your instrument in a relaxed position for about 2 measures. Then you will come back up into playing position, but you'll be counting 4 measures of 4 beats. If you are not playing with the accompaniment, if you're in my class, we're just going to pull the instrument away, pause for a moment, put it back in playing position, and then continue on with measure number 21. Now, measure 21 is exactly the same as measure 5. And measure number 22 is exactly the same as measure 6. And 23 is the same as measure 7, etc., etc. This entire section from 21, sorry, my mouse is going crazy, from 21 all the way to measure 28 is exactly the same as what you had beginning at measure 5. So I am not going to go over and repeat those measures because we've already done that. However, we are going to talk about measure 29 to the end because it is different. So measure 29, I'm going to do 29 and 30 together because it's all C. So I have thumb 1, 2, 3, C. I have a C here, a C here, C, and C. We do want to take special note of the rhythm here, though, because here in measure 29, this note right here is a dotted half note. You can see the little dot right there after the note. So instead of this being a 2-beat note, it is a 3-beat note. So I have 1, 2. So I'm going to hold for 3 beats there. Measure 30, and I'm going to do the same thing. Quarter note C followed by a half note. Notice there is no dot after this note right here because instead of the dot, I'm going to take a breath right here on this rest. Okay, so I'm going to give you a tap here so you can see what the rhythm is. Here's your tap, 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 starting at 29. And then we'll be ready for measure number 31 after we take that nice big breath right there. Okay, 31, you have G, 4, 5, 6, and thumb F, half notes. And measure 32 goes with measure 33 because we have a tie right here. That's what this long curvy line is. Now we had a slur earlier in the piece up here at measure number 8. And this is a slur because this is two different notes, E and D. So I know that this is a slur. The definition of a tie is that it occurs same type of curvy line, but it happens only between two notes and they have to be exactly the same note, the same line or the same space. So I have first line A and first line E and a first line E. So these are exactly the same note. So instead of this being an articulation, how I'm going to tongue the note, this means that I'm going to be joining the values of those two notes together. I'm tying them together. What am I tying together? I'm tying 4 beats for the whole note to 1 beat over here in measure 33. So it's 4 plus 1. So this is going to be a 5 beat long note. I am not going to play this note again here. I'm just going to hold all the way through it, is what a tie tells us to do. So this is a longer than normal held note, 5 beats. Here's a tap, tap. Oh, and thumb 1 E. Tap, tap, 5 beat E. So you're probably going to want to write that into your music that you're just holding. You might want to draw an arrow across over here, or say 5 beats or something like that to help you remember not to play this note again. In my own music, I would probably cross this note out and just draw an arrow across the top so that I would not be tempted to accidentally play that note again. The judge is going to be really looking for that particular thing in this song. All right, so I'm going to go back now and play this entire thing for you. I will pause in the middle to kind of pull the screen up a little bit so you can see it better. And notice right here the tempo marking. Andante means a walking speed. Maestoso means majestically. So a majestic walking speed. It's not, so in other words, it's not too fast, it's not too slow. However, as you're learning this solo, whatever speed you can play this for the judge cleanly, that's the speed that you want to go. You do not want to go any faster than 92 beats per minute, but you want to take it a speed where you will be able to play this so that it's pleasant sounding. All right, so here we go. I'm starting right here at measure number 5. And I would continue on, but I will pull this up a little bit so you can see it better. And here is measure 13, starting on C, thumb 1, 2, 3. And 2, 2, 3, 4, and 3, 2, 3, 4, and 4. This is measure 21. And there you have melody. So you will need to play this a couple of times each day to make sure that you are well prepared to play all the way through this song for the judge. Do not wait to the last minute to start working through this. Work through it a little bit at a time and then be able to play it several times to build up your endurance. So good luck as you practice. I hope this video helps you.